Hi, everybody, and welcome in on this Thursday afternoon. It's early afternoon. It's 1:42 right now, Central Time. If you're watching this anytime later in the day, just keep in mind that things may be a little out of date. What this is going to be, I did not have a chance to do an update this morning. I was swamped with some other things, and so this is the update I want to give you guys in terms of our severe weather threat this afternoon. We mentioned it Sunday night, that Thursday we could have some big boomers around here, and that certainly still looks to be the case. So we are all set up and primed and ready to go for at least the potential for severe weather. I don't think everyone's going to see severe storms this afternoon, but we've got a good chance. I mean, you feel it outside. It's hot. It's finally humid. That humidity is kind of caught up to the storm system, and we're dealing with that right now. So I want to dive right in. Good afternoon to you. Linda is first with us here this afternoon. I know it's an odd time. This is kind of a bonus broadcast for all of our sponsors as well. Don Z, thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. Jill, good afternoon to you. Angel, you too. Hello there, Jeff. John Paul, JP, asking about what tonight will bring. He's curious about it. We've got a pretty good idea how it's going to unfold, and we'll see. Yeah, and Derek says, let it storm. We could listen, I know we had a really wet spring, but we're going dry, and we don't want to go dry, especially with the heat coming next week. So we'll dive into the forecast here, okay? As always, please support our sponsors. They're all local to Northwest Indiana, which is awesome. FBI Buildings, they do post-barn construction or pole barn construction. If you need something renovated, all that stuff, they deal with that. Minogue.life, the place to go if you have any questions around Medicare, Medicaid, life insurance. Michael is an expert in that category. Minogue.life is the website. PSA, those are public service adjusters. It's publicserviceadjusting.com. They deal with insurance claims, and they'll do it all for you. If you have an insurance claim, go there first. They'll deal with your insurance company to get you maximum money. It's awesome. It's publicserviceadjusting.com. Ewing Mechanical Services. Guys, we need an AC next week. No doubt about it. We are getting hot around here. If you need an AC tune-up now, schedule it now before they get slammed next week. It's ewingmech.com. They do tune-ups and clean it up for $69, which is great. They also have brand new systems and 0% financing for 72 months on those. TigerPlumbing.net, the place to go for your local plumber. You can schedule online. They come out for free, which is great. And Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Valparaiso. They've got all the Jeeps you could possibly want and other vehicles too, but the Jeeps are super cool. All right, let's Susie says, the bonus broadcasts are the one that scare me. That's so funny. I just want to get you guys updated. Nothing to be scared about this afternoon. Here's what we're dealing with, though. We need to be weather aware, okay? Storm Prediction Centers had us under a slight category. I don't like the word slight. Bottom line, we've got a pretty likely chance that we're going to see some severe storms in Northwest Indiana as we get into the afternoon and evening. Enhanced risk as you get out towards Illinois. That's kind of where the bullseye of the best ingredients are for severe weather later today. So what are we dealing with right now? It's hot. It's humid outside. We're up near 90 degrees right now. That humidity is built in. And you can see there's not much going on via satellite. We've got a little area of high-level clouds here up in Wisconsin. We had that little thunderstorm that was trying to make it into Northwest Indiana this morning. We got a couple raindrops out of that. That's about it. But I want to zoom in and kind of show you what we're seeing here in terms of local cloud cover, okay? Because this is key to where storms develop here in just a little bit. So we have, these are the clouds, right? This is a look at the cloud cover. You can see this little line of clouds right here, all right? These are all cumulus clouds. You can see kind of the bubbly clouds out there, nothing crazy, but they're starting to bubble a little bit. But as you get up just north of Chicago, there's kind of a well-defined line that goes into Michigan. This is the initial push or the initial wave that we've got cumulus clouds that are growing into cumulonimbus clouds, okay? And you can see one just popped. So there's a cap in place right now. It's not going to last much longer, but what a cap is, it's basically a lid on the atmosphere. It happens a lot in the summertime where you have a little sliver of warm air aloft, okay? Cold air likes to rise. So warm air rises. We warm up the surface, that air rises, all right? The air doesn't condense until it gets cold enough to condense, all right? So that warm air is rising, and it relies on colder air as you get higher in the atmosphere. So that warm air parcel is rising, and it cools to a point where it forms cumulus clouds. And then if it continues to get colder all the way up, those cumulus clouds will, if you have enough instability and lift, those cumulus clouds will grow into thunderstorms, right? Well, what we have right now is those cumulus clouds are developing, but we've got this little sliver in the mid-levels of the atmosphere of some warmer air. So the cumulus clouds are rising, they're rising and doing their thing, and then they hit that warm air and they just stop. And so they stay cumulus clouds, if that makes sense, all right? So that warm air is the lid. That's what a cap is on the atmosphere. what's happening is that cap is eroding. All right. As we go through time, we're getting some colder air aloft, kind of replacing that warm air. And so once that cap erodes, once that warm air goes away, these cumulus clouds are allowed to get bigger, and poof, that's when you have thunderstorms. And so we've seen just cumulus clouds so far, but notice what happened right here. You could see that little puff in the atmosphere in north central Illinois. That is that first cumulus cloud breaking through the cap. It's going up and forming a thunderstorm. And that's what I'm expecting along this line as we go throughout the rest of the day. This is going to happen in the next couple hours. We'll see development, and then we'll see these storms roll in. So 2 areas that we think they're going to develop first, north central Illinois. We're already seeing that. We'll likely see more thunderstorms develop along that. Also in Michigan, there's colder air aloft in Michigan, so it'll probably get going there. And what I'm expecting is a line of storms to develop. They'll probably be clusters or multicellular. And that line of storms will be rolling south and east through northwest Indiana. All right. So these are things that we'll probably see coming. Okay. I don't expect a lot of development here locally. I think they'll develop just off towards our north and the west, but we should see them developing. We should see them moving in. So if you look to the northwest sky here over the next couple hours, that's where you're going to see your developing weather. All right. If it gets dark, obviously you have a storm coming, and we're here to cover you as well. Okay. So that's kind of the setup. Couple things I can throw on here just for kicks. For our radar junkies here, this is convective available potential energy. It's CAPE. You've heard me say that before. That is just atmospheric energy. How much energy does the atmosphere have to be able to produce thunderstorms? All right. We don't have a lot right now, but as you get closer to this boundary where this front is, there's plenty of energy. In fact, it's really high. In that area of higher CAPE is going to move in over the next couple hours as well. So that'll all set the stage for storm development. Again, this is Meteorology 102 or 201, I guess you could say. But I know a lot of you love weather like I do, love to explain it. So hopefully that can kind of better explain what we've got going on. All right, so let's go through the modeling. We'll talk about when these storms are expected to hit. We'll let you know how bad we're expecting them to be. Again, this is it's a severe weather threat this afternoon. Primary threats, I'm going to get into it, are damaging winds and large hail. All right. The tornado threat's not zero. Okay. Some days the tornado threat is zero. There's just no shear. There is some shear in the atmosphere. There's not a whole lot of a jet stream involved with this. So we can't rule out an isolated tornado, but the best threat by and large is hail with these and damaging winds. Okay. That's it. Those are the 2 big ones, in addition to heavy rain and lightning, but that's a given with thunderstorms. So this is the latest HRRR run. This is a 17Z, just came out. And you can see it initiates storms just off towards our north and the west. This is not truth. I want you to keep that in mind. Anytime we look at a model, it's not truth. Just because it shows us a storm developing in LaPorte County doesn't mean a storm is going to develop in LaPorte County, okay? What we do is look for trends with this. This does not have the north central Illinois storm that's developed, okay? So we already know it's off a little bit. But either way, this is the trend. We get storms to develop. These would be hailers. We would likely have some damaging winds in pockets with these, not for everybody. And they develop really over the next 2 hours or so. And then over the next 2 to 4 hours, we're dealing with this initial line of storms that's kind of multicellular. There'll be different cells with it. They'll roll through. You'll dry out. Sun might pop out, and then another storm rolls in, okay? They'll be scattered. I don't think everyone sees a severe storm, but I do think most of us pick up some heavier rain out of these as we go throughout the evening. You see coverage pretty much covers most of northwest Indiana. I would agree with that. And all indication, in fact, our in-house model that we use, that shows perhaps another line developing behind that. It may be hard to differentiate between the two. We may see the initial line develop and then another little one develop on the backside, and they may all just come together. But either way, the trend is that we get this second round of development as we get into the latter half of the afternoon and then heading into evening. All right. So this would be another evening round. And then that moves on out and we're fine. Okay. We've got nice, dry, comfortable air. The humidity will go away a little bit tomorrow and Saturday before the heat really builds with that giant ridge. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. Again, storms develop next couple hours. We're going to be dealing with on and off storms as we go throughout the afternoon into the evening. Not all hours are going to be wet. These storms are going to be scattered. You'll see them on radar rolling through. And any of one of them could be severe all the way up until late this evening with the second round. I have a hunch that this first round that we get, if these really get going and we get some good downpours and lightning and a couple severe storms out of this first round, I have a feeling that this second round may be to our south, okay? And we would get more rain off of that than anything else. That's just kind of how I see it evolving in my brain, but it could go either way. All right. It all depends on where they develop, how they develop, and where they roll from there. Okay. Because, I mean, there's a lot of options that can happen, but bottom line, we're going to turn stormy around here. Okay. So that's what we've got. That's my heads up for this afternoon. We'll be on it. I'll be keeping my eye on any severe weather threat that we have here locally. Hail, damaging winds, the two primary ones. Okay. So a couple things you can do. We always want to talk about how we can prepare for these. This is going to be a stormy afternoon. If you have a garage or a carport, probably best to bring that in just in case we have a hailstorm. All right. Doesn't mean you're going to see hail where you live, but why don't we plan ahead if we can? Make sure everything's charged just in case we get some damaging wind. All right. Knocks out power potential. Okay. So make sure all your stuff's charged up. And make sure all your lawn stuff and everything's brought in for a little bit. Okay. Lawn chairs, umbrella down, all that good stuff. Okay. That's all I got for you. All right. So we'll answer your questions for you and get you on your way. And obviously, I'm sticking around as we go throughout the afternoon and evening. So it's not like I'm leaving. Okay. So let's answer your questions for you. Oh, Danielle, we've been talking about that on the newscasts. Yeah. Florida has just been getting raked with storms. There's a system that stalled. We talked about this a little bit on Sunday. System stalled down towards Florida, and it's just been daily thunderstorms, lots of tropical moisture down there. And then that little system is going to head out in the Gulf of Mexico, could become tropical. But boy, the downpours have been crazy. We were talking about this morning on the news and yesterday, some areas have picked up anywhere from 7 to 8 inches in a couple hours. Lots of flooding down there, even with that sandy soil. So yeah, have a safe trip coming home, Danielle, for sure. Pearl, you're welcome. Yeah, praying no hailstones as well. We don't want that. Hi, Susan. Tom says, should I batten down the hatches? I love that saying, Tom. I used to hear that, man. Where did I hear that? I mean, that's just what people say, but I think I would hear it either on the Weather Channel or our local meteorologist all the time growing up. I love batting down the hatches. I would, Tom, just in case, for sure. JP, that's a good question. So we have the capability in the atmosphere, at least from what I'm seeing, to produce up to golf ball size hail. All right. So that's kind of what I've got my eye on. I don't think we'll see anything bigger than that. And again, not everyone's going to see hail, but golf ball size hail could be possible with some of these storms, given how cold it is aloft, for sure. Yeah, Tom, clouding up in Munster. Yeah, these are the clouds as they continue to grow. So we're going to watch these form storms in a little bit. All right. Linda, you're welcome. Lisa asked, did you used to do weather for Lakeshore Public Television? Lisa, I did. Yeah, absolutely. That's how, Lisa, I don't know if you know the backstory, but that's how Region Weather was formed. When they stopped doing news at Lakeshore Public Television, I was their chief meteorologist for 7 years, something like that. When they stopped doing news, I created this Region Weather page because Northwest Indiana needs weather coverage, and we don't get it from Chicago. Chicago will say, 6 to 12 inches in Porter County, they don't even care. So that's why we created this page, and we've been around since I left Lakeshore. So yes, I used to do news for them. Jill, out of this, it'll be interesting. We'll see. I do think as these storms translate over east into Indiana, eastern Indiana and Ohio, we could see some of these get into the Sandusky area. It'd be later on this evening, though, Jill, for that, for sure. That's okay, Lorna. It's all right. Just got an alert on Alexa severe thunderstorm. Oh, so they issued a severe thunderstorm watch. Good. I didn't even get that alert. I've got all these things going off on my watch, but I'm not dealing with it because my focus is on you. So they did issue a severe thunderstorm watch. Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're talking about. So in terms of timing, these storms are starting to develop now, Lorna. I'll go back to the kind of the satellite here. This is what we're watching is this little area of clouds here, looks to be. Okay. Angel, you're welcome. Jacob, we mentioned at top of the broadcast, the tornado threat is not zero. There is a small tornado threat with these. I'm aiming more towards hail and damaging wind threat. Not for everybody. Just want to make that clear. Not everyone's going to see severe weather, but we've got a pretty good shot at it with this front coming through. So we'll be keeping an eye on it. Jonathan Couts is looking the same as everyone else. Threat of storms here. It's going to develop to our north and the west over the next couple hours. We'll watch that line roll in. This is kind of what we're looking at. I'll go back to the modeling again. This is probably an hour from now. It'll look something like this. These storms may be over here. Again, this is a model, okay? But the general theme is that we get this cluster of storms kind of in a line from west to east with a little orientation off towards the north and east with it. But either way, that line would have clusters of storms, okay? So it'd be storm then dry weather, storm, then dry weather, and that whole thing would translate through Northwest Indiana over the next couple hours. I mean, evening rush hour, maybe a couple hours before then because it's developing now, and then we would have perhaps more development off towards the west that would keep those storm chances coming all the way through this evening. Okay, so just so you know. Scarlett Letter, thank you very much. I appreciate you joining us on our YouTube channel as well. Rhonda, exactly. I totally agree with the no tornado threat. Let's keep that out of there. And guys, as always, I do appreciate you joining us on our YouTube channel. I'm trying to quietly grow that. Again, I'm not someone that cares how many likes or people follow the page or anything like that. But YouTube, once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we are able to do more on YouTube with live updates and stuff like that. So if you are on our YouTube channel, if you don't mind subscribing, again, it's not a shameless plug. I really don't care how many people follow us. My point is I want to get the information across. And if a platform has some kind of barrier where I can't do things at a certain point, and then I can do things that would reach more people to keep more people safe during severe weather, I'm a big fan of that. So I certainly appreciate that. All right. So Mallory, no problem. I mean, we're very transient here in the social media space. So I get it if you just don't join, no problem whatsoever. You guys can always go back and rewatch kind of how we covered everything at the beginning. But in terms of timing, Mallory, this is developing right now in areas of north central Illinois. And I think really next couple hours, we'll see where they develop and then they'll roll in. I would probably say anytime after, let's see, it's almost 2 o'clock right now. I would say anytime after 3 for us would be a good time where we have a storm chance. All right. It depends on where they develop and kind of how they move. But anytime after 3, I would say evening rush hour, we should have storms around, pretty good coverage. And that would continue through the evening. Indication is that there's more that develops in Illinois, and that wave kind of comes east and brings us kind of a renewed chance. It's not going to rain every single hour from here on out. All right. They're going to be scattered. So you'll get a storm, then you'll have some dry weather, then you'll get a storm, etc. But certainly the risk for severe weather goes all the way through this evening, probably 10, 11 o'clock. Okay. Rhonda, thank you very much. And Pearl, yeah, thank you very much as well. Okay, I think I got to all your questions. So guys, again, that's the update here this afternoon. I'll be with you. Just make sure you're plugged in. You get a way to know if we go live. I know they change it all the time on Facebook and on YouTube, how to sign up for that. If you're subscribed, you should get an alert. But if we go live, just make sure you set it up so that you can get alert. You can Google how to set up doing that. I'm not quite sure because, again, they've changed it 800 times. But just make sure, if we go live with a warning or something like that, that you just have a way to know that. Okay. All right. So Rhonda, no, you do not need to be in your closet. Jennifer, you're welcome. I hope you have a great rest of the day too. JP, you're welcome. Mallory, no problem. Well, good. I'm glad, Mallory. That's the whole point is easing anxiety. This isn't a blockbuster severe weather event. This is a good old thunderstorm summertime atmosphere that we have. It doesn't scream tornado at me. That's the good news. But we do have a damaging wind and hail risk, and that's not fun either. So, okay, Susan, you're welcome. Thea, oh, you're camping right now. Thea, keep an eye on that radar for sure. You're going to want to bring it in. It doesn't mean your campsite's going to see severe storm. That's the good news. Hopefully they're scattered around you and you escape anything bad. But boy, Thea, if there's any lightning whatsoever, make sure you get into a sturdy structure. Okay, that's my fear. There's going to be some good lightning with these, in addition to the other severe threats. But lightning when you're camping is not a good recipe. Please get somewhere safe. Even in a car is just fine. But just be careful out there and keep your radar handy. Okay. All right, guys, we'll be updating you the rest of the day. Just wanted to get this out there on social so we have the update. Okay. All right. Thanks for taking time out of your day to join me. I do appreciate it. We'll be in touch. Okay.